Okay, today we're working on division. This is lesson 16, and in this lesson, you're actually going to see the parents' way of solving it, the standard algorithm. So let me show you what we're talking about here. So I have a little acronym that helps you remember all the steps in long division, and it's DMSB, and it stands for divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. Kind of an easy way to remember the order that we've used in the past is daddy, mommy, sister, brother, just to kind of remember all the steps. And I'm going to show you how those steps work in just a little bit, but it's divide, then you multiply, then you subtract, then you bring down. And we're going to use these steps a bunch throughout the rest of this unit. So I want to show you some of the work that you're going to do today. Some of it's going to be with the dots. Some of it's going to be the standard algorithm, your parents' way, but I'm also going to show you how you can check your work. What's nice about long division is you always know if you get the answer right. When you check your work, you'll know for sure if your answer matches up. So I'll show you how to do that. First, we're going to start with working with the dots. So you are doing 7 divided by 3. Think of it as passing out candy to your friends or passing out cards in a game. You have 3 people that you're going to pass cards out to, and you have 7 cards. So I'm going to go ahead and make groups for those 3 people. So here's a group for person 1, person 2, person 3. And now I'm going to spread those 7 cards out, or 7 pieces of gum, or whatever you're dividing equally. So I'm going to give this person 1, this person 1, and this person 1, and I've used up 3 out of my 7. I have enough left over to go back and give them each another one. And now I've used up 6 out of my 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I only have 1 left, and that 1 left is going to be my remainder. And I'm just going to set it off to the side and circle it to remember that that's my remainder. When I've divided these 7 into 3 groups, how many does one person get? Well, one person or one group gets 2. And that is my quotient. 2 is my quotient. Did I have a remainder? Yep, I had 1 remainder, so I write that here, remainder 1. So dividing the dots makes it really easy to see. It's equal groups, I pass them out equally, and it shows that 1 remainder. So there's one way to solve these problems, but I'm going to show you the parents' algorithm, and I'm going to have to zoom in a little bit here. I'm going to write down that 4-letter acronym DMSB, and remember that stands for divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. What you're going to find about division is everything's pretty much backwards from what we've done before with the standard algorithm, with parents' way. On this one, the answer, the quotient, goes on top of the equation, which is totally different than what we've done before. In addition, subtraction, and multiplication, the answer always goes on bottom, but this time, the answer is going to go right up here. You're also starting in the biggest place value that you have. Typically, we start in the ones place, but now it's not the smallest place value, it's always the biggest place value is where you're going to start your work. So it can get a little confusing because it is very different from the other problems that we've solved, but we'll give it a try. So we're going to take this 3 and divide it into 7. So how many times does 3 go into 7? Well, it goes in there 2 times. Then you're going to multiply, and you're going to multiply this 2 times 3, and that's 6. And then you're going to subtract to see if there's any remainders, and 7 minus 6 gives you that 1 remainder. If you had another digit here, you would bring it down at this point, but we don't. This actually is the end. These are all our steps. We divided, we multiplied, we subtracted. There's nothing to bring down, so that tells us we are done. And our quotient, or our answer, is this 2 with the remainder 1. So 2 remainder 1. Same exact quotient and remainder we got here. Just solving it without the dots. Now to check your work, this is a really nice thing about division. You take your divisor, and your quotient, and you multiply those. We're going to kind of do the opposite, right? We divided to find this quotient. Now we're going to multiply. If we multiply these together, they should make the dividend, the inside of the box. So we're really using that fact family idea. So if we take 2 times 3, we get 6. It should match what's inside the box. It's close. It's 6. It should be 7. But you also have to add on the remainder. That one extra dot we have right here is we need to add that on. Once we add on the remainder and we see that when we check our work we get a 7 here and it matches up with this dividend, we know we've got that answer correct. Let's check a tougher one here. We've got a 2-digit, 67 divided by 3. So same idea, we're going to start with the dots, and we're going to split these up into 3 groups because we're doing groups of 3. And that's what this divisor means. Here's the divisor, here's the divisor, here's our 3 groups. And this time we're going to break up 67. So we're going to start just with the tens. We actually start with the biggest place value in division. So we're going to start here with the tens, and we're going to divide 6 into 3 groups. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what's nice about this is there's no remainders. Each group gets 2, which is nice. And then we're going to go and do the same thing with the 7 in the ones. We're going to divide that up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one becomes our remainder. Everybody's got the same amount of dots. This one right here is our remainder. So our quotient, our answer is 2 in the tens, 2 in the ones, with the remainder of 1. So our quotient is 22, remainder 1. So there's one way to solve it using the dots, but I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit here and show you parents' way. I'm going to write down that acronym, DMSB. Remember, that's divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. And we're going to solve this problem. Division, the answer goes on top, the quotient goes up here. All of the work goes underneath, and we're starting with division. And we're just going to try 3 into 6. We're not even going to worry about ones place. Similar to what we did over here, we started in the tens place to solve this, then worked in the ones place. We're going to do the same thing with parents' way. So we're going to see, can 3 go into 6? And it can. It goes in there 2 times. That's my division step. Then I'm going to multiply. And I multiply 2 times 3. And 2 times 3 is 6. And then I'm going to subtract to see if there are any remainders. And there aren't. Now you're going to see everything I just did here is the same as what I did here. I had 3 groups, that's my divisor. I had 6 dots, and I divided them equally, and each group got 2, and there was no remainder. So you can see these are the exact same steps, just 2 different ways of writing it. Now I'm going to move on to the ones place here. Once I subtract, I bring down, and I have something to bring down this time. I have that 7 to bring down. So now I'm going to take this 3 and divide it into 7. And 3 goes into 7 2 times. I then multiply, because after you divide, you multiply. And 2 times 3 is 6. I then subtract to see if there's any remainders. And there's 1 remainder left over. Once I'm done subtracting, I try to bring down. There is no digit to bring down here into this column, which means I'm done. And my answer is 22 with a remainder of 1. Now you're going to see all of the steps I did for the ones place are the same as what I did here. I had 7 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I split them into 3 groups. 1, 2, 3. Each group got 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And when I used up these 6 dots, it gave me 1 left over, and there's my remainder. Let's go ahead and check our work here on this. So to check our work, we take our quotient times our divisor. So this time it will be 22 times 3, and this is simple math. We're going to do the ones and the tens. I get 66, but I also have to add on that remainder that I had left over. I get 67 here. This should match my dividend perfectly, and it does, which means I did all the work right. That problem is perfect. Give it a try on your worksheet 16 and see what you think, guys. All right, I think I'm going to walk you through just one more here. We're going to take 85 and divide it by 2. So we're going to do dots first. This time I need to divide it into 2 sections, not 3, because my divisor is 2. That didn't work out so well here. Boom. Now I'm going to take my 2 sections. I'm going to start in the tens first, the biggest place value. I'm going to divide those 8 dots into 2 equal groups. So I'm going to spread them out. There's 2, 4, 6, 8. And it goes in there perfectly without any remainders. So my tens place is done. Then I'm going to go to my ones place, and I've got 5 dots in the ones place. And I'm going to split those into 2 groups, 2, 4, and that gives me 1 left over, which is my remainder. I can see that I have 4 in the tens, 2 in the ones, with the remainder of 1. So my quotient is 42, remainder 1. So pretty simple. Looking at the dots, pretty simple way to solve. But this standard algorithm, your parents' way, is another way to look at it. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see both. You're going to see they're the exact same steps, just written differently. I'm going to write my acronym DMSB. I'm going to start right here with my divisor into my tens, just like I started in the tens over here. So can 2 go into 8? Yes, you can. It goes in there 4 times. That's my division step. Then I'm going to multiply 4 times 2. That's my multiplication step, and that's 8. I'm going to subtract 8 from 8 to see if I have any remainders. I don't. Just like I didn't have any remainders here, it went in there evenly. I'm going to bring down my 5 and move over to the ones place, which is what I did in the dots way of solving this. And I'm going to redivide these 5 dots into 2 groups. And let's see here, can 2 go into 5? Yes, it can. It goes in there 2 times. That's my division step. I'm going to multiply that 2 times 2. So 2 times 2, that's 4. I'm going to subtract to see if there's any remainders. And there is 1 remainder. And there's nothing to bring down because there's nothing, no other digits to bring down. So that means I'm done with that problem. So I have a quotient of 42, remainder 1, which is the same as what I found with the dots. Let's check our work here. Remember, to check your work, you take the quotient, 42, you times it by the divisor, 2, and it should give you the dividend. So I always like to say the outside number should give you the inside number, similar to an area model. If I were to make this an area model, they should equal this inside number 85 when you multiply these together. So let's multiply them together and see. We're going to start right here in the ones, and 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. And then we have to remember to add on that remainder, and we get 85. If this number matches your dividend, then you know you've got the correct answer.